Is there anybody, will they be able to see people coming in?
We have a webinar, they'll only see you or I. It's not a meeting, yes, but you could still interact with, you know.
Okay, sounds good.
Let me see what happened.
Hey, everybody. Lindsay, Robert, nice to see ya. Hello, Marianne. I can't see you guys. It hurts my soul, but I can see that you're in here, so it's exciting. Let's start in about 10 minutes, everybody. If you hear a small child crying, it is my cat and not a baby. He wants second lunch.
He does impersonations.
He does do impersonations. He comes on and impersonates as being a fatty cat. He'll jump on and ruin presentations, but people love him. It's like my own little character, a little sidekick.
Are you attending? Webinar.
Sorry about that. That was my iPhone talking to me.
Welcome, everybody. We're just hanging out. You're not missing anything. Pinky promise. Oh, while you guys are waiting, would you actually help me out? Elizabeth, Lindsay, Marianne, and Robert. If you guys have anything that you're looking to learn today, some topics, if you could please put them in the chat so I can make sure that I hit on those and really do more of a deeper dive, that would be great. Hey, Sylvia, thank you for joining while you guys are waiting. If you have any questions that you want answered or some of the topics that you would like kind of worked on during this presentation, especially around networking, I would love to hear it. And we're streaming live on Facebook. How fun.
And everybody will get, this will be on YouTube also, and everybody will get a copy of it tomorrow.
Wow, super fancy. Do you want to really go live? We got about 5 minutes before we get started.
Yeah.
Just hang out.
Yeah, people start coming in a moment.
Cool. Hey everyone, thank you for joining so far. We're going to start in about 2 minutes. So if you have any questions or topics that you're looking to get involved in or like to expand on, throw them into the chat so I can really make sure you're hitting on everything. Thanks so much.
I'm on here twice for some reason.
So are you. You were twice on the screen. I'm not sure why. There you go.
Okay. All right, do you want to get started?
Sounds like a plan.
Okay. Welcome everybody to SCORE Monmouth's weekly webinar series. Each week we have on Fridays, we sometimes have it at 3 or 4 in the afternoon. Lately we've been having it a little bit earlier since we live by the shore and it's a great place to be out at. But this webinar is going to be something special. For those of you who aren't experienced with SCORE, SCORE is a nationwide group of volunteer mentors who give their time and expertise. Generally, a lot of them are business owners or former business owners or leaders who help people to start their business or grow their business. Mentoring is always free. And with these seminars, we're looking to give out great content so that'll help you to either grow your business or give you some thoughts of how you can improve your business. For this webinar, it's going to be 1 hour. We're going to keep to our times. We're respectful of your time. So it'll be until 1 hour from now. And what we'd like you to do is we're going to introduce Ashley, who is going to be teaching you. You ever walk into a networking meeting and there's 100 people there, and there's that one guy who runs around the room handing out his business cards and then wonders why he didn't get any contacts? It's because he didn't know how to network. So luckily for us, we happen to have Ashley today, who's going to normally teach you how to network in the real world. But since we're, for now, living in a Zoom webinar world, she's going to really help you with some skills that are going to help you to benefit from that. I would ask in the course of this, if you could, we encourage questions, we encourage conversation. So from the bottom, if you could, in the Q&A, list any questions that you have, and Ashley will be glad to help answer those toward the end of the webinar and perhaps during the webinar. So with that, I'd like to introduce Ashley, and welcome, Ashley.
Hi, thank you so much, Bill. I appreciate being here. I've heard so many great things about SCORE, and I'm just glad that I've got 19 people who haven't peaced out and gone to the beach yet. So I appreciate everyone hanging out on a Friday, especially 3 o'clock on a Friday, to learn about some virtual networking. Marianne, thank you for your question. I answered a little bit in your chat, so hopefully that helps. But if you have any questions further on, I'll be happy to answer. So I am personally going to share my screen. So just give me just a moment. Hey, Bill, can you give me some access to share the screen? That would be great.
Sure. Why is it not? I just went down to a small thumbnail. Hold on 1 second.
Sure.
One moment here.
Yes, it will. It will be recorded. All righty. Here we go. So, everyone's good? You can all see my screen? I think you can. Beautiful. All right, folks, today what we're going to be talking about is networking virtually with excellence. So during this pandemic, everything went from 0 to a million with murder hornets and crazy things and riots and protests. So many things are happening right now. And sometimes it's a little bit difficult to maintain relationships, especially now because we can't go back and forth and have that human-to-human interaction. So today we're going to talk about networking virtually with excellence. And that means, how do you nurture your network online? Whether it's from vendors or clients or networking strategic partners, which we will go through, how are you maintaining all of those people during a really crazy and extraordinary time? So, few things as we get through it. We're going to go through, everyone can see my big dumb face. It's always on the screen. I apologize. But a couple things. We're going to go through just a little bit about me. What I can do for, can you see me, Bill? Yep, perfect. Just to make sure. Sorry, you jumped around a little bit. So just to kind of give some information and background on me to break the ice a little bit, because I know networking is about building relationships. So I'm going to be a little self-deprecating and share some fun stories with you. So I'm originally from North Jersey. I'm a fast talker. I apologize. Not really. If you can't handle it, I'm sorry. We'll record this and figure it out as we go. Let me tell you something. Jersey has the best bagels, even though you've got the Jews and the Italians that come from New York and hang out in Jersey. We've got the best bagels, and definitely sure of it. I have no kids. I have a very, very fat cat. Before some of you joined, my very fat cat decided that he wanted second breakfast. So if you hear a small child crying, it is just him behind the door wanting a second lunch, actually, because he's a small bear. My background, I was previously a celebrity personal assistant. So that means I have a lot of therapy bills, and it's just like the Devil Wears Prada. That was in New York City. I have competed in CrossFit competitions, which means I could just pick stuff up and put stuff down. When I was really going well before I built my business, I was actually looking to become a CrossFit coach. I was pretty cool. I could like deadlift 225 pounds, which is just lifting things up and putting things down. Didn't really help me in my career, but it made me feel pretty damn strong. But let me tell you, I wasn't good. I mean, when I did compete, I came in 31st and at 34. I just survived it. So don't think that I'm cool or anything, but that's kind of my background. Karaoke Champ 2016, tequila was involved. I've been in 12 movies as an extra, which just means I can sleep anywhere, meaning when you're on set for that amount of time, between 16 and 18 hours, I can fall asleep along any hard surface, and I got a chance to meet a couple cool celebrities, but that was my background. And the last bit is I once ate a Carolina Reaper. I'm gonna just leave that there because if anybody knows what a Carolina Reaper is, you're gonna just cringe. I think all of you did. I can't see your faces, but I'm assuming it's a wild grown. Carolina Reaper is one of the hottest peppers in the world, and tequila was also involved. Hi, Mary. I'm so glad to be a breath of fresh air. Thank you. I'm very loud and excited about being here today. So thank you, Mary, for your nice comment. And that's me. Those are fun things. So here's the agenda of what we're going to go through today. Okay, we're going to go through the reality of virtual networking. What is the norm right now? Steps to get started to kind of shift the mindset onto what networking actually is nowadays. Knowing yourself, which is very important. Knowing your audience, planning your working your plan, and then the tools and resources that correspond with it. And then on the questions on how I can help. Okay, guys, I can see your question and answer shenanigans in there, so I have it nicely placed. Throw some stuff in, and I'll make sure I react. Okay, so here's the problem with people. Here's what the norm is right now. Non-essential workers are operating virtually, which means that people typically are not trying to get out of bed. They're answering emails in bed, they're hanging out, they're having a drink at 4 o'clock in the morning. Like, it's just the whole thing, right? Then you've got people who don't have a clue how to join a webinar and apparently don't know how to scroll through an email to find the link to Zoom. So even though they've gotten all the information, it's just consistently managing and figuring out how people do not understand technology. Either they're leaning into it or they're not. And then you're trying to figure out, okay, how do I reach out to this person that I haven't spoken to, but their business card's been on my desk for so long and I should reach out. I mean, right now it's a little challenging. You know, when is it appropriate to reach out? And then, are pants optional? Apparently, there are so many videos of people not wearing pants in videos, and I don't understand how they make money. Dress appropriately when you're jumping on webinars. It's just normal human behavior. Please don't embarrass me. Okay, so here's the reality. Now that we've all laughed at my discretions, here's the reality about networking. You gotta understand that the people that you're trying to network with usually fall in these top 3 categories. It's important that you recognize that the value you give is important and time-consuming and valuable. So just as a reminder, only people who genuinely care are going to talk to you, okay? Only people who genuinely care are going to want to help you anyway. And only people who genuinely care are going to ask you for realistic favors. So what that means is that if the people that you're keeping in your network at the very foundation, at the very baseline, do they hit this criteria? Because if they don't, they do not belong in your circle, they do not belong in your sphere, they do not belong in your group of champions. These are people that advocate for you when you're not in the room. The reason why this is important is because if you go into a new experience with somebody new and you're doing a lot of quantity rather than quality, here are the top 3 things you're going to think about when somebody new is coming into your sphere. So this is a question, but since we're not in person for you guys, I'm just going to tell the answer. What is the maximum number of people we can maintain relationships and have social interactions with? If any of you want to throw a quick guess in the chat, I would be open to it. Just a quick guess. Oh, people are chatting. Hi. 200. Phil, close, Phil. Anybody else want to guess? You can do it. Just one more person. Not the people that 100. Listen, Linda and Phil, you guys are the prize, which is my love and affection. It is 150. Timothy, you're so close. 150. I get very excited about these things. 150 people that you can maintain relations and have social interactions with. The reason why it's that many, believe me guys, I like about 5 people on a good day, but here's the theory behind it, okay? British anthropologist Robin Dunbar, according to his theory, the tightest circle has 5 people. These are loved ones. That's followed by a successive layer of 15 good friends, 50 friends, and 150 meaningful contacts, 500 acquaintances, and 1,500 people that you can recognize, okay? Now, people will migrate in and out of these layers, but the idea is that it is a space that has to be carved out for anybody else to come in, okay? So if you exceed 150 people in a network, it's unlikely to last long or even cohere well. So here's a story time. Everybody knows who Paul Revere is. And if you don't, then you may, well, everybody knows who Paul Revere is, but do you know who William Dawes is? William Dawes and Paul Revere did the exact same thing. One rode at Boston on April 18th. They both rode at Boston April 18th. They both sounded the alarm for the Revolutionary War. One rode north, one rode south. Didn't really matter what direction they rode. They rode into town. One raised the militia and the other did not. The reason why is because Paul Revere was an information broker. An information broker is a person that occupies a key role in a social network by connecting unrelated groups of people. Because he targeted well-connected people during his ride, his news spread wildly and quickly. So the moral of that story is that William Dawes was just not an information broker. He didn't know what doors to knock down on when he entered a small town. So the moral of the story, again, is take this concept into consideration with your own businesses, with your own, with your own values and skill sets. If the information isn't delivered to the right people, it's going to fall into obscurity like William Dawes. Okay. All right, so any questions so far, guys? I know you're not in the chat. Questions? Everybody hanging out? Cool. Have a drink, have a cocktail. It's gonna be a good day. So, what is your goal when you're networking virtually? Everything on the right-hand side of your screen are all activities, networking activities, the reasoning as to why you're trying to build a network. These things are all, again, networking activities. Are you building engagement on your LinkedIn profile? Are you staying in front of your current network with thoughtful content? This is content that is engaging and educating. Are you building new professional friendships? Listen, guys, nobody gives a damn about what you do. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. People buy people. So when you're building up professional friendships, that can always lead into possibly closing deals and building the know, like, and trust factor. Are you reaching out to past clients and checking in? Are you learning and developing a new skill from a local subject matter expert? We're going to go through the top 3 people you should be networking with, but just to give you an idea, like these should be your goals. These are the activities you need to build your virtual network. And then are you nurturing your network by staying engaged with their content? Right now, and I'm going to show, there's a really cool strategy called the $80 method that you can build engagement on LinkedIn, and I'm going to show you what that is later on, but just know, like, put a little note to go through that. And Robert, you're 100% correct. The goal is to give is to not sell. How much value can you give from the very beginning? Because you're building up networking equity. The goal for networking is, what do people say when you're not in the room? Okay, next. Oh, here's who to network with. Top 3 people. Okay, so now we have our strategic partners. These are professionals who are in a complementary business and who share the same target market. Think of a real estate agent and a divorce lawyer are fantastic strategic partners, maybe also because of now. But it's because when somebody is going through a divorce, typically they're downsizing or they're upgrading. So at that point, you're able to refer back and forth between each of these business industries, and it's complementary. One thing, I had a great conversation with a woman the other day, and she made a really good point to establish, like, if I'm going to give a recommendation to somebody as a strategic partner, somebody that they share clientele with, it can't be one way. It has to be beneficial on both ends. So make sure when you're figuring out who your strategic partners are, go through the life cycle of your client, right? If we're talking about real estate agents, being a mortgage broker, they probably need an interior designer, at least to have it in your back pocket. Take 5 industries, find 2 to 3 people that are in each industry that you know, like, and trust, and start building from that. So again, I'm gonna repeat that. Think of spokes on a wheel. Take 5 industries, that are complementary to your field and start networking with those people in those industries. Or if you don't have 2 to 3 people per industry, you want to start filling in those slots. As you get better and better at networking, you're going to have a list of 183 people because there's going to be one industry that you've built good relationships with 2 people, and then when you make an introduction when somebody needs that person, base it off of personality. You're going to have hard asses, and you're going to have people that just like are very coddling. You're going to have somebody that works in really big industries and also works in boutique industries. It's good to have variety. It's not good to have so much variety that you're not nurturing that network, but that's a good start. Subject matter is a complementary strategic partner to digital marketers, website developers. Then you also have a few, we'll definitely go to a few others, but think of by the time they get to you, what are they doing with their business? Like business coaches would be fantastic for a good referral source. So think of by the time they get to you and your niche, who do they have to get to first or along that life cycle? Subject matter experts. These are people that are better than you. There's going to be people out there that are going to rock the house. There are people out there that are a million times better at LinkedIn than I am, which is why we partner up. I'm going to go through a few people who are amazing that you guys should follow because there's certain LinkedIn activities. Like she stays in her lane. That's her lane. I'm on the networking side, but you want to engage with subject matter experts in industries that can complement, that are particularly specific to you. This is the time to learn. This is the time to engage. And people are putting that you can get certified. You can look at other things. You can look at different strategies. There's so much out there. Start learning and start engaging. And then your current network. If you have a stack of cards on your desk that you've done nothing with during this pandemic, throw them out. Throw them out. You've done nothing to nurture that network. You're going to go back and say, oh, I met you 4 years ago. And I want to reach back out because you're on my desk in your to-do list. Get the hell out of here. Take those cards, throw them out, start with people that are a part of your current network. Think like the low-hanging fruit, people you forgot that could help you in some way. Take a look at that list. It's very, very important. Okay, here's how to communicate effectively. So think of when you're building up these lists and building up the people that you want to talk to. What is the actual intention about it? So, here's how to communicate effectively. What's important about making your name memorable? What does that mean? That means you're not going to be walking into a conversation and peacocking it. Nobody wants to be taken advantage of as far as like overriding the conversation. You don't want to be spoken at, you want to be spoken to. If you're making yourself memorable, how are they going to remember you? Not what the hell you do, but you. Because by the time they get to the referral, they're already going to be so excited about how to make it because you've made their day. Guys, we are in a specific area right now where everyone's heightened, their senses are heightened, it's very sensitive, there's a lot going on right now. If you can find compassion and ways to help them in some, let's say a resource or a webinar, or hey, I saw this article about training kids on how to do 3rd grade math because right now that's very difficult. How are you helping them that's standing out from the typical introduction phone call? Always end a conversation with the future in mind. I swear to all that is holy, if you do not end with an action item at the very end of the conversation, you don't write it down somewhere, you just wasted a good half hour, 15 minutes of your time. I swear to God, it's the worst thing with some people who call themselves a power networker. They never follow up. They don't have any kind of way of continuing the conversation. And it drives me crazy because it's like, what? I'm not asking you for referrals, but if you said you're going to do something, you better do it. Otherwise, you're off my list because I have 13 other people I'd be happy to chat with that are in your industry. Don't be a William Dow's, be a Paul Revere. Plan structured next step conversations. So think about ways that you guys, why you're following up. And also, now that you've had the introduction call, the next one is, hey, I know we spoke about this last time. Can we go through, like, I'd love to talk to you about this particular topic. You're now engaging in a way that's very intentional. You're understanding ways that they tick, how they manage things, how, what kind of issues they're having in their businesses, or what kind of successes they're having in their businesses. How are you maintaining that relationship plan a structured next step conversation. Recognize storytelling opportunities. Let me tell you, how many times, if anybody's in B&I, do you hear somebody that always stands out because they tell a story and they crack you up? They don't tell you they're scripted what they do, like, I'm a financial advisor, I save money for people. It's like, no, I make sure that your 16-year-old doesn't stay at home with you for the next 45 years. Like that to me, like, what do? Oh, I make sure that your finances are taken care of so that you'll never have to have them sleep on the couch. Like that to me is funny, and that makes your name memorable. But if you are explaining to people what you do, sometimes, especially if it sounds very scripted, the challenge can be is they don't really recognize how to either communicate what you said or be able to refer you or make good introductions. So think about sometime that you helped a client and how you fixed it. Tell that story. Client came with me in this issue, and this is how we fixed it. Because you could tell that you're a digital marketer, but what does that mean? You know, are you working on SEO? Are you working on websites? Are you like when somebody came to you with a problem? How did you fix it? Build a diverse network. Build a diverse network. I have been doing this training for 3 years, and this is one of my biggest things and something that I try to drive home forever. We network with people that look like us. If the social aspect of everything that's going on in the world today, I cannot stress this enough. Diversify your network. Go to different organizations, LGBTQ, African American, Asian, whatever it may be. Be on the board of somebody that is different than you, because you have no idea what value you can bring. You have no idea what value that they can bring. And again, we network with people that look like us. Diversify it. Now, I challenge you to find a group or a webinar that's different than what you're typically used to and diversify it. Before everything that was going on, I was a lot more lax on putting this, I'm putting this ahead of everybody. But for God's sake, build a diverse network, because now more than ever, we need to help. Tracking the value of networking activities. If you do not have a CRM system or some kind of system that keeps track of the people that you have the pleasure and the privilege to network with, that you've built a know, like, and trust factor with, it could be an Excel file, and we've got a few tools that I can suggest that are free to help, with some of the things that you're working on as far as capturing all that data. But track the value, because that's going to be the most important thing. So, go on to the next slide. Any questions so far, guys? Cool. All right. Ooh, here's some pro tips. These are my favorite. Okay. So, number one, when you're networking online, there's this, and I think I'm gonna send out. I sent over to you guys a follow-up email with all of these resources that we're talking about today. So there's something called the dollar. So step number one is that on LinkedIn, you want to follow hashtags that are relevant to your industry. About 10 hashtags. The reason why is that I want you to comment thoughtfully on those hashtags. You are starting to become the subject matter expert in your field, because the people that are seeing your posts or your comments or thoughts in thought leadership on these hashtags are the hashtags that are trending the most. So you're getting the most eyes on it. So what you want to do is you want to do the $80 method. That means putting your 2 cents on posts that are directly relevant to your industry. I will send over a full list of what that looks like to go more into deeper detail, but also a video to also show what it looks like as well. So it's called the $80 method, but you're following hashtags. The second, again, very important. Everyone is an idiot who hasn't taken this class yet. Everyone is an idiot. You have to remember that you cannot rely on somebody else to follow up. From now until tomorrow, until the rest of your life, since you've taken this class, you are responsible for following up. Do not wait for somebody to follow up. Nothing. After the first meeting, your only job is to follow up. However, if you want to take it a step further, not just, it was a great experience chatting with you, blah, 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 and all those things that are super, casual and easy, be intentional. And now we're going to take a step further. What you can do with that follow-up is remind yourself that there's a reason that you're following up. So ending your, I'm going to repeat this twice, just to kind of drive it home. If you end your messages with, let me know if you'd like to chat, or how can I help you? What you're really saying is, I did not take the time to think through what I can do for you, nor what you can do for me. I'm going to repeat that. Ending your messages with these blanket statements like, let me know if you'd like to chat, or how can I help you? You're really saying, I did not take time to think through what I can do for you or what you can do for me. Make sure your follow-ups come with intention and specifics. That is going to stand out from the rest of the other jabronis that are networking with. Acknowledge that right now, everything is kind of divvied between the personal and the professional. So things are more personal right now, and that's okay. This means that you're going to have a chance to share conversations that are more candid, that are more vulnerable, and reminding yourself that that is what makes us human. Empathy and kindness, which have always been critical, are particularly essential now. At the very end, because we've got more slides, but at the very end of these pro tips is avoid the one-time reach outs, like the virtual coffee dates. Just like going on many first coffee dates in person, it's not really the best use of your time. The same is true of going on a bunch of one-time virtual coffee dates. Make key virtual check-ins recurring so that you're able to get in touch with people repeatedly throughout this entire pandemic experience. So just as an in-person, for coffee, just be sure to execute any follow-up, again, any homework items from that conversation. Anybody disagree or want to throw in a comment? Oh, cool. All right, so now that I've drilled home how to be a good networker, the foundation of being awesome, they're going to talk about deep, meaningful business conversation questions. These are my favorite, okay? DMBCs, deep, meaningful business conversation questions. These are questions that you can amplify your network. How many follow-ups are appropriate? Lindsay, it actually depends on if you've met them before, or if you have, or it's cold. So typically if it's cold, industries averages change a little bit, but it's around 9 to 11 times. And those follow-ups aren't just emails. They're like networking activities. Those are follow-ups, right? Typically between 5 and 6. If you've met them in person, you've got a good relationship, follow up between 5 and 6 times. In some way, whether that's a resource, whether that's a value add as far as not really necessarily telling them what you do and like, hi, this is what I do, buy from me. More of how can you provide some kind of resource or help for them. Great question. Thank you, Lindsay. All right, DMBCs. I'm not going to call them my favorites. Are 2, because I use these all the time on every single phone call because it opens up the conversation even further for me to be able to refer or introduce them. When someone gets what problem are they having? This is such a good question because it takes them away from the script and it puts into what problem do they fix and how do they fix it? If you can't answer this either, you got to talk to me because you got to be able to answer all of these questions if you're going to be asking them. My other favorite is apparently there's people running outside. My other favorite is what industry do you find the most success in? So the reason why that's important is because if you get somebody that says, oh, I work with anybody, no punch you in the face, can't do it. Nope, you don't work with everybody, can't. You got to be niche. Not even completely niche, but you don't work with everybody. You work with specific people that have a specific problem. So, what industry do you find the most success in allows you to filter the people in your head to be able to give an appropriate introduction. So that way, it's not like, hey, I really specialize in working with financial advisors, or I really specialize in working with women. Like, try to help them narrow it down. Especially since you guys are all networkers, because I think you are now because you trained with me. But it's important to recognize that sometimes not everybody understands the value of these questions. So you may get some pushback because they may not have the answers, and that's okay. But again, If you are going to ask these questions, which I strongly suggest you do, you better be able to answer them. Welcome, Lindsay. Cool. Okay, so how are we on time, Bill? 29? Perfect.
You're good.
I'm good? Perfect. All right, so now that we talked about the baseline of networking, here are the tools and resources that I'm going to describe and why I use them every day and why it's important. So these are obviously some of the tools that I use every day, but let me describe them. Obviously LinkedIn, that's a no-brainer, but the CRM tool that I like to use is called HubSpot. And if you don't know what HubSpot is, it's a great contact management system, client relationship management system that allows all of your contacts to be synced together, and also keeps you honest. If you're going to follow up with somebody, it also integrates with your email, so you can create tasks within the contact that you've synced up through your email into HubSpot. And so that way, at the end of the week, you don't forget when you're supposed to follow up. It also reminds you to follow up with that person. So back to your question, Lindsay, of like what's, how many follow-ups are appropriate, you can actually find that in your CRM tool, so that when your trash have it is not filled with more trash and then you forget and then you drop the ball. Networking can be a lot of work. I do it for a living. It is a lot of work. It absolutely is. But using tools like this allow me to be more intentional and more and to do what I say I'm going to do without being overwhelmed with all of the activity. Hio is a great, I love this company. It's called Hit It Off. It's an application that works with event organizers as well as attendees. And what they do is that when you go to an event or a webinar, it actually connects you with all of the attendees that you can chat with directly. You can share contact information, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, whatever it may be, and they give you great ways of following up. Hit It Off. If you guys sign up for it, please make sure to use my name. There's no money. It's free for you to use. I just like to give Jason a call, who runs it, and says, hey, man, like, I told you about your business again. It's awesome. I'm such a fan of their company, so it's more just for me to feel good about myself. So when you sign up, to say hi. Anyway, if you take anything from today's presentation, the tool that I use that I swear and live by is something called Calendly. Calendly is a tool that syncs up with your calendar, so you always capture the person's information, phone number, and email address, and also where the hell you met them. The way that Calendly works is that, again, it syncs up with your calendar and only shows available times that you specify. Now, you can add in, stuff to your calendar, and it won't cross, so that way it will only show available time based off of keeping an accurate calendar. You send a link to somebody and say, get introduced, or you want to connect, and I have some templates I'll share with you guys. And that allows you to take their information and also find out where they came from. When you pull this information, you figure out who gave you the introduction. Now, when you figure out who gave you the introduction, after every quarter, you go back and say, oh my gosh, Steve gave me like 3 introductions, and I should thank him. It keeps you honest. It gives you the data that you need, and I'm going to show you more into what that looks like too. And then Evernote. Evernote's a great place to, I'll tell you how I use Evernote. I take a lot of phone calls every day. I do a lot of introduction calls, learning about people's businesses and what makes them tick. But what Evernote does, it allows me to transfer my notes from my phone if I'm like running around, having a phone call and thinking off the top of my head or stretching out. Evernote allows me to make a notebook that says intros to give. And I throw that person's introduction, or like, oh, you know what, as they're talking and telling me, I don't want to forget, throwing it into this notebook. And so that way, every week, I just go back in, and Monday and Tuesday, if those were really crazy days, I won't forget Thursday, Friday. So it's a way to transfer your notes from your phone directly to your computer, and you can add and adjust and add templates and things like that. I use it daily. Cool. All right. Oh, this is creepy. Are you guys ready? I know we talked about knowing yourself in the very beginning, but if anybody's taken an emotional intelligence assessment, these are assessments that show you how you make decisions and how you, what motivates you to make these decisions. So I take the DISC profile. I love it. It's I actually have a link I can send to you guys that it's a DISC profile. This allows me to figure out what I'm never going to be good at. And I can tell you right now, in my DNA, I will never be good at math. But what I will be good at is managing different personalities and being able to delegate, right? These are a few different activities and attributes. I think we've got some questions. I don't think so. Evernote moves text to content. Yes, it does. Thank you, Ronald. Evernote moves text to a contacts file in Google Contact. It might. That might be a feature you're going to have to Google. I haven't done that, so I'm not going to say yes or no. Hopefully that helps. Cool. All right, next is, so this tool is really, really, really helpful. You're on, Lindsay. Is helpful. It's called Crystal Knows. What Crystal Knows does is that it is a tool that is also a plug-in into your LinkedIn. I think it's about like $30 a month. And what it does is that it guesses the disc profile of the LinkedIn profile you're looking at. So what that means is that on the right-hand side, it uses artificial intelligence, and it gives you an idea of how to communicate with that person. So I used to use this when I was in sales because I didn't know any better, and I was trying to communicate effectively with, let's say, somebody who has a very dominant personality. As you guys can tell, I like to eat glitter and unicorns in order to make everybody laugh and have a good time. So somebody who's a high D may not like the fluff and the colors and the post-it notes. So in order for me to be able to communicate effectively with this person, I need a little bit of help. So by doing this, it gave me more of a confident way of communicating, let's say via email, reaching out, through messaging, and it gives you suggestions on how to do it. I like it because when I train teams, I will go through and I'll run this program on some of the business development managers. And I will be able to customize their networking activity based off of their DISC profile. I'm not a DISC SME, but when I use it as a guide because I need to learn how they work, so that way the activity can match the personality, so that the training and activity matches. They're going to want to do it. They're going to feel more motivated to do it in that space. So this is a really scary tool, but it's pretty awesome. Okay. Next. Okay, so remember I talked about Calendly and how important it was because you're gathering information? In Calendly, when somebody clicks on the link to schedule something on your calendar, you can actually put questions. And what that means is that you can ask questions like, hey, how did we connect? And by pulling that information, you want to work smarter, not harder, right? By pulling that information, I'm able to see where those introductions are coming from or where my network is the most robust. So by pulling that information, you can see on the right-hand side, this is 2018 calls. I took 300 and something calls last year, or 200 something calls in 2018. See, math, not great. But you can see at 144, these were actual direct referrals, which means that all of my networking activity was going well, I was doing the right thing, because those all came from people that I met in person and I built a relationship with, and then somebody else introduced them to me. So, as you can see, I thought for like a good, I'm talking 6 months, I'm like, my newsletter is bringing in me the business. It was not. I had one person reach out that was part of the newsletter. So this allowed me to now scale back on the newsletter and say, you know what, I know some organizations that are doing well. I can figure out how to get into those meetings and have those and be able to communicate with those groups. So like, the reason why I'm showing you this is because it was a shock to me, and I claim to be a subject matter expert. This was also 2018, beginning of 2018, so, it was new to the game. However, the point is the data is important. However you're capturing it, which I strongly suggest using Calendly, allows you to see what efforts. It kind of puts an ROI attached to networking, because there is no ROI in networking. Networking is a marketing opportunity, not a sales activity. So this allowed me to see where to pull back on some things and activities on my time. It was very helpful. Cool. Okay, LinkedIn templates. Yay! Give me 2 seconds. Let me tell you guys, I use LinkedIn, I use this kind of verbiage every time I have the pleasure to connect with somebody. So when somebody reaches out to connect by either using the $80 method, whatever it may be, and somebody says, I want to reach out and connect, they're opting in. Open the door for a conversation. You have no idea who they know. You have no idea, you know, what value you can bring them, and you have no idea who you can network with. So this template I use, and it works about 75, 80% of the time where people schedule something on my calendar. So what this means is that I am saying, I am so glad that you reached out. Since we're now connected, I'd love to learn more about what you do and get to know you better. Hopefully, I can provide an introduction or two. Let's set up a time to chat and see if we can help each other out in some way. This is 100% not a sales call. This is the people that you want to continue to connect with that are subject matter experts. These are your current strategic partners from those, remember those 5 people and spokes in the wheel? These are the kinds of introduction templates you want to send. I use Calendly to schedule my networking calls. Please use this link to do so. How many times and how much time do you spend going back and forth in emails? I'm like, Friday, 2, maybe we could do 4, and like, let's do Zoom, let's go out and be stay 6 feet apart. You know, nobody has time for that. Nobody has time. So using that link is very, very helpful to not allow people to kind of go back and forth where you're working smarter, not harder. So you can do more networking activity, which is why I have a successful business, is because using these little shortcuts that are still meaningful and deep and powerful allow me to maintain the network without overwhelming myself. Cool. In conclusion, am I out of time? Yes, I am. In conclusion, you guys want to know yourself. You want to make your name memorable. You want to know who you're networking with. Know who you're networking with. Proactively reach out to build a network, to build your networking capacity. Okay. You're going to plan your work and work your plan. Plan structured next step conversations. Please, please, please follow up. Fail hard, fail fast, and move on. You're going to screw up. Good. Screw up fast. Put your foot in your mouth. Forget all the deep, meaningful business conversation questions. Good. It takes practice and it takes a little bit of finesse, but everybody's unique in the way that they network. There's no wrong way to network. There's only bad best practices. there's only bad best practices that people tell you to do. When people tell you to build relationships and like, oh, networking, just build relationships. Well, excuse me, Susan, that's not how this works. Yes, build relationships. However, how do you do that? So hopefully with a lot of these tips and tricks to kind of make everything very tangible is also going to help you out. And then activity breeds results. If you're doing nothing, nothing's going to happen. More activity, more engagement. People are so thirsty for human-to-human interaction. Make their day. That's all I've got. Thank you very much, everybody. Any questions?
Yeah, so please add your question to the bottom. You could either do Q&A or you could do chats, or share one of the golden nuggets that you've learned from hearing Ashley speak today. What was a new idea that you didn't know before this webinar? And
that I have a fat cat that doesn't count. Thanks, Lisa.
Some questions popping up?
We've got, you love the template ideas. Thank you, Mary. Mary, making my day. Oh, by the way, at the end of this, you guys are going to get an email from Bill with all of these resources in a few different webinars that I've done with Bryn Tillman, who's a subject matter expert on LinkedIn. So you'll have some tools and resources available to you after this. So you're not going to walk away like furiously writing notes down. You've got some stuff for me. So, do any of these networking tools? Yes, Paul, they do. Do any of these networking tools work well with Outlook? Yes, I only use Outlook. So all these tools work well. Yes, do I have template ideas for reaching out to LinkedIn folks that do not know you? You could shift the question. Yeah. You want to be, what would you like to hear? If you were to receive a message from somebody new, what would you like to hear? Customize it. Don't tell them, you know, you're going into it looking for a networking, just get the meeting, a networking conversation. It's not a sales call, it's a networking conversation. Make it less threatening and more engaging.
Yeah, one of the other things that you can do with networking too is if you meet someone, even if you can't provide a service or product, connect people. That's one of the best ways that you can build up your reputation. Connect with someone else to say, hey, Ashley, I met this person today. Boy, this is where they could benefit you. Ashley's going to appreciate it. The other person's going to be, and there's nothing in it for you, but you're building up your reputation at the same time. So sharing those kind of connections really will matter. So.
Hey, Lisa, Okay, so what would you do if you have over 10,000 connections? I was an executive search and a career coach. I help connect people to others. It's a big network to manage. Yes, it is. That is tough because 10,000 connections means that what you're saying and the value that you're giving is powerful, which means that you have an audience to educate. What I would do separately is I would look at you know what I do, honestly, Lisa, this might actually help you out. Because I'm a little similar, I don't have 10,000 connections, but I have a ton of connections that are digesting my content, so it's a little bit different about managing individually. What I have done to kind of build up a robust list is I took all of the industry names from LinkedIn, like the actual listed names, and I copied them into a Google Sheets or whatever, and I put in the people that I knew off the top of my head that I loved, that I cared, built a know, like, and trust factor with, into those slots. So I could see how many people that I knew that I recognized right away and put those people into those slots. Then I would go back and say, okay, who do I need to fill, but really who's asking for these kinds of people in my own network, in my own industry. So it's kind of like taking your own brain and putting it into a spreadsheet. But so I use that when somebody's asking, like, hey, I'm looking for X, Y, and Z, or I like to be introduced to these kinds of people. I'm able to do a Control F and find the buzzword that their specialty is in. There's one other thing too, Lisa. I'd be happy to talk to you about this because it's a list that I use often. Is I copied. It takes time to do, so you want to take a weekend to make it, but it's pretty easy. Underneath the About section in a lot of these company pages will have their specialty. I copy and paste that, put it into my Excel file. So when somebody says, oh, I do cloud service providers with SBX and like stuff that's over my head, I can Control F it and like find out that person in their specialty. That way I'm not going back and forth to all these things. I hope that helps, but I know it helps me, especially for trying to like whittle down your stuff. Okay, Ronald, hopefully at least that helps. Ronald, I use LinkedIn Sales Navigator to get advice on improving reach, identifying business partners. Yes, I do. You want to hire Bryn Tillman. That's who you want to hire. She is the LinkedIn queen bee of all time. I am not gonna. I don't know how to do that. I don't use Sales Navigator. I don't purchase it. She is the only person that I will recommend for LinkedIn. She works with the headquarters over there. Don't even have a referral agreement. I love her so much. Like, I'm such a fan of hers. So guys, if you're going to be, doing a lot of LinkedIn activity, you want to get more involved in that, like go to Bryn. She's got so much free stuff out there right now that you'll be able to kind of pick up on some of those activities too. So sentence on a paragraph outlining why we should speak. Yeah, keep it easy. Keep it easy. People are not stupid. If you put a full paragraph, nobody can. I'm not reading that. I'm not reading it. Are you reading it? No, I'm not. But honestly, using Crystal Knows too will also give you an idea of how to communicate with them. So Tim, you might want to look at, I think they have a 30-day or like a 2-week trial. And I think I have a link to that I'll send you guys. So check it out. Paul, all are good with Outlook. Thank you. Also, you have used G Suite with any of your, yes. Let me actually ask the question because I just said it in my mind and words didn't come out. All good with Outlook, thank you. Also, you have used G Suite. Have you used? I just start drinking straight vodka. Have you used G Suite with any, or are you solely using Outlook? Okay, so I use G Suite for one of my clients because I do operations for their company. But I personally use Outlook because I'm so used to using it for businesses and stuff. You can migrate over your G Suite contacts to Outlook and stuff. I exported them, and vice versa. So that honestly, for some of these technical questions too, guys, like that YouTube, I built my business off of learning how to follow directions through YouTube. Great advice, Lisa. I need to accept people for part-time role. I am in for an LLH career condition, so I keep adding. Right, but you also want to build a relationship with them too. So don't just add just to add. Then it gets overwhelming, and then you got to pay attention to more people, and that's just tiring. My question is, Paul, are you using G Suite as well as other Google products as well in coordination with? Kind of. Yeah. I use G Suite and I use Outlook. Not together though. That makes sense. Well, will you get the tools even we didn't check off to get emails from SCORE? Scott wants to know.
Yes, you'll get a follow-up email tomorrow, and this presentation will be on there, along with some of Ashley's links that she's been speaking about. You'll get that tomorrow, about 24 hours.
Timothy, Ronald, an anonymous attendee. It is Bryn Tillman, and you're going to get the webinar that she and I did in the follow-up email. So you guys will have her information. My opinion on Constant Contact. So MailChimp I use just because it was free up to a certain point, but Constant Contact I use for other clients. It's good. I like it. It's a good tool. You're welcome, Paul. You're welcome, Scott. You're welcome, Lisa. Have a great time at your virtual networking event. I will have a wonderful weekend. I'm so excited. I'm glad you're in Rhode Island. I'm actually so very exciting. You're welcome, Ronald. Oh, that's good. I forgot. I have a business. You guys can connect with me. Ashley at ashleyassist.com. You're going to get all my contact information with the follow-up email that Bill is going to send over. I have a champion program, which means that I work with you individually on a monthly basis. I give you 3 introductions a month, up to 3 introductions a month. You talk with me for an hour. We go through 4 weeks worth of stuff. And then you get added to a Slack channel, which is basically AOL Instant Messenger on steroids. So it's a way to communicate with me every day. I also do one-on-one, hour-long coaching. If you guys want to go deeper dive and have your whole plan taken up, I'm easy. Just give me a call. We'll talk. I always give 15 minutes for free, and if you're fun and you think I'm funny, it usually turns into a half an hour. So, just saying. You're so welcome, Marianne. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Folks, I'm about Ashley. Can I have your network? Just kidding. Enjoy your weekend. You're welcome. So honestly, Paul, let me tell you, can you take some of my clients? They're out of control. They're a little spicy. But Paul, pleasure. Absolute pleasure. Scott, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Linda, I'm so glad. This is like the best. This is my ego right now is so big. All of you have been so wonderful. I'm glad you're laughing, Paul. Scott. Stuart, yes, Stuart, you'd be happy to call me sometime. Again, you're gonna get an email with all my contact information and my Calendly link. In fact, if you guys want, I'm gonna stop my share right now and put my Calendly link into the chat so you guys can just do it quickly if you'd like. Give me 2 seconds. That's the easiest way to throw anything on my calendar. So you guys can use that whenever you need to.
Playing from desktop 8JCK4C4.
That's all of my robots yelling at me. I hope you're all laughing because I'm just out of control today. Do you guys ever have, we're friends now because I'm just talking to myself. Have you guys ever had iced coffee and then like saw sounds? Like just really strong iced coffee? No? Okay. Just me? Perfect. Also, if any of you are a part of organizations that want this presentation too, this is a free presentation. So if any of your organizations are interested in another free presentation, I'd be happy to. So not even a question. There we go. There's my link, folks. Sylvia, thank you for calling me entertaining. Made my day. Thank you. I'm glad the information was great. Everyone's still here. I feel like, should I do a show? Like, should I just bounce around? Thank you, Mary. Mary was beefing up my my brain this morning, being so nice. All right, folks. Have a great day. I'm around.
So again, thanks to Ashley. Another great presentation, and you will get this all tomorrow. Again, SCORE offers always and forever free mentoring. So if you have a need for, if it's finance, marketing, anything at all, we have all these experts who are ready, willing, and able to help you, always at no cost. We don't sell anything, never sell anything, you'll always be free. And when you connect with it, if you want to connect with the SCORE mentor, we have a whole team of people who we could perhaps co-mentor you if you needed to. Our next Friday weekly webinar, we're going to be going to have Jeremy Skillings, and his topic will be Google My Business, because you really need to be found on Google to get business. So it's great, like we had Ashley as expert today on helping you with your networking. This is a game changer. And next week we'll have Jeremy. After that, every Friday we're going to have it. Watch for emails. It'll either be 11 a.m. or 3 p.m. depending on when the speaker is there. And otherwise, we want to wish you a great weekend. Again, thank you to Ashley. Look forward to getting her information tomorrow and reach out to her afterwards. Other than that, have a wonderful weekend. It's supposed to be a great one now. And thanks for participating in another SCORE webinar in our weekly webinar series. Thanks so much.
Nice to see you, Nate. Nate's a friend of mine. I'm so glad he's here. Hi, Nate. Thanks, buddy.
Nate's my nephew.
Is he real? This is how, you know what? I honestly forgot how I got this gig. It came from Nate. Oh my God. Good morning, guys. Have a great weekend. I'm going to go take a nap.
All right. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.